We're just going to look through the console a little bit and how and why we laid it out the way that we did. I don't know if the camera is going to be able to see all the way. Yeah, I can't see all the way to the left. I'm actually going to see if I can move it over just a little bit. Okay, well, it's not straight anymore, but you can see it all. So maybe that's a win. Maybe it's not. I don't know. There's some glare. Whatever. We're going to probably redo all of this anyway. Like, eventually, I would love to put the console out on the floor and do like a nice production-looking tutorial, but we're here now. But hey, you can see our signals moving up and down.
Yep.
And how we're recording this is just going to a little Tascam unit, which we are using our speech matrix for. Oh, and that is some severely intense compression. Can you talk one more time? Because I might be peeking us out.
I don't know.
Cool. I think we're set.
Okay.
All right. So this is a 64-channel audio mixer, and we've color-coded drums green, bass red, guitars yellow, keys blue, and then all of the handhelds and headsets are supposed to be purple. I don't know why this is orange. Someone probably changed it since, but everything is going to be purple. Mm-hmm. Then Vox are pink, and matrices are orange, or mixes and matrices are orange.
Okay. And
that is, how everything's laid out. And then all of the tracks are like this aqua blue kind of look. But okay, everything I think really makes sense in terms of labeling for the first page. Kick low, kick high, snare, floor tom left, rack tom, floor tom right, overhead left, overhead right. E drum, which is just the drum pad. I would probably call it drum pad. That was a thing that I inherited. I'm probably going to change it right after this to drum pad.
Okay.
Bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, keys left, keys right, which are just Scott's like the physical TS inputs coming out of his keyboard.
Okay.
And Ableton keys left and right. Mm-hmm. Those are the virtual instruments that are coming out of Ableton. So when he's like playing notes, those are the synth sounds that are being generated.
Right.
Miscellaneous 1, but it's so often used for organ that we just put ORG right next to it.
Okay, sure.
But that's miscellaneous 1, then miscellaneous 2, handheld 1, and handheld 2, which you and I are talking on.
Yep.
Headset 1, all the way to headset 6.
Okay.
So
we have that many headsets?
We have that many headsets. They are not all created equal. Headset 1 and 2 are decent. Headsets 3, 4, 5, and 6 sound very different.
Okay.
And so those have been used, I guess, in children's plays or productions over the last few years.
Okay.
And I actually haven't seen those yet. They're buried somewhere in the back.
Okay.
And so, those probably sound terrible right now. Like, I'm sure the EQs don't make any... Yeah, the EQs are flat. So, we haven't touched them yet.
Yeah.
But then we're going on to vocals, which we just call Vox, because you can't fit vocals 1, 2, 3, 4, like in the title. So Vox it is. But Vox 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is where it ends on channel 32, and 7 begins on 33.
Right.
And then Scott's MD mic. So he has a pedal where he's able to push in, and it will move his physical line. Cut Vox 1, he can't be heard anymore.
Right.
And it only transitions him over to the MD mic.
Okay.
So he can just talk in the musician's ears, and he doesn't come out through the PA, which is awesome. And then anything with a T in front of it stands for tracks, which is coming from Ableton. So T click, T guide, T perk left and right, percussion left and right, T effects left and right, T bass, T acoustic, T electric left and right, T pad left and right, T synth left and right, T keys effects left and right, T miscellaneous left and right, and that's it for tracks, which is a lot.
Yep.
And we were talking earlier, we're probably going to consolidate that.
Yeah.
Now that I'm in charge of prepping Ableton, I'll just make sure that the mix sounds the way that we would hope coming straight out of Ableton versus doing it at the console level.
Yep.
Then we have our crowd left and right, which is the mics up on the stage that are just off the round. Just chilling on the stage. SMPTE is routed absolutely nowhere. The only reason it's on this console, and most people are like, don't send SMPTE to your console. I'm like, I agree with you, but I want to make sure that it's I just have somewhere that I can look and make sure that it's being sent, because I don't have ProPresenter or PVP or anything right next to me to like, is it actually happening? This just gives me a visual indicator if it's just a static thing that, I can see that the SMPTE is at least being received by the console. So it should be being received by PVP.
Right.
And then LM stands for live mix. So the stage has a separate mix specifically just for the drums. And so these EQs and compressors are all being heard in their ears. And so that's just something to be aware of. If we turn them off, they won't be able to hear them. So we just leave them on and floored, and they aren't assigned to the mains.
Okay.
So even if you turn these up, it wouldn't do anything.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Quick question. Why do we have a channel for Scott's pedal thing? So his talkback.
Yeah, it's specifically so that if he just wants to talk to the band on a Sunday morning, but he doesn't want anyone else to hear what he's saying, he has manual control, because like just regularly, like if he was talking to his mic, everyone would be able to hear him.
Right.
If he pushes and holds on that pedal, then it cuts off vocal 1. Like all the signal will just, it won't be coming through vocal 1 anymore.
Right.
His mic will transition over and come through the MD mic.
Okay.
So that he can talk to people on stage without it being heard out here.
So theoretically, if we had the fader, the channel on and the fader up, we would still hear him through the mains.
Correct.
Okay.
And if you went back and looked at it, you can see I've unassigned it from the mains. So even if we turned it up, we wouldn't be able to hear him. But if we like push we push the stereo button and then push it up as he was talking, we would hear him.
Okay. And that's solely for the in-ears that we're routing it through the board.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Only for the musician's benefit.
Yeah.
And also for the benefit of people upstairs. That channel they have a live mix upstairs in the production booth, and they can hear him talk as well.
Okay.
Through the live mix.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. Tonight is a little bit unique. We don't have a drummer tonight, and so we have the ability to route some of the tracks specifically just to certain live mix channels, and so we're doing that. No drummer, so we took our percussion left and right tracks, and we came over here, and I think we were going through this earlier, and I'm glad we looked because I didn't turn them back on. But the percussion left and right channels, we're just sending into the overhead left and right mix for the drums. And that goes over here to channels 3 and 4, overhead left and overhead right. So we're going to, in Ableton, let the drum tracks play that we're going to mute on Sunday because we don't have a drummer. But then they have the benefit of feeling it a little bit more, and we'll have some kick drum in the house and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
That's the fader layouts. We have 2. So for getting to custom layers, you just push the in and outside buttons at the same time, and it'll move you from A, which you can't change anything about A. It's 1 to 32, 33 to 64, stereo inputs, DCAs, and mixes and matrices. And then we go to B, which we can customize to be anything that we want. So I use B, bank A the most, or bank 1, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4. But there are others here that have mixed in a certain console layout, and that's totally fine with me. They're just using bank B, and it's just a slight differentiation from the way that I have it set up.
Is that front of house?
Yep. Okay. Yep. And it's like, I didn't make those stickers, but we definitely don't need them. So people can bask in the, oh no, it's the last time these stickers were ever seen. And I'm pretty sure AVM stood for Aviom, and that was used forever ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, not even accurate. So look at that. Look how new it is under that. Gross.
Yeah.
We need to deep clean this thing.
Yep.
But yeah, and so I'm just encouraging people like, hey, if you have a console layout that you think could be better, like come talk to us about it. And if you can really present a case for why, I have no problem giving you bank 3 or bank 4. It's like those are currently just sitting there blank. Or this one's not. It should be. I don't know what this is here for. Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just looking at what the labels were.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of this is left over from the way that the console was laid out because we didn't do a full factory reset. We just like started changing things channel by channel, and so there's still a lot of leftover information from the previous file. And obviously, I didn't know it was here.
Yep.
But you can even see sending to Video World, like we're getting some pretty healthy signal from you and I.
Yeah.
Which is great. So that the recorded version, they don't have to go and post and bump us up. We're just already doing it for them.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Jess. I'm kidding. Yeah. So you asked a great question earlier of like, why are these buttons flashing?
Yep.
And it's because they're assigned to a DCA. So if you click on these, you can see that 3 is lit up. And so those are our DCA assignments. Also, we have mute groups. We're not using mute groups because you can use a DCA as a mute group.
Yep. Yeah, it's a little redundant.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, I totally understand if people love mute groups, do your thing. We just haven't found a need for them here yet. A million ways to do something with an audio console. But if I was to come and I'll just turn it down because there are mics up on stage and I hit on, you can see that they're no longer flashing.
Right.
Something that's a little bit weird about this console that I don't totally love is that if I turn it off and then I click, like I can still allow that channel to come through. So like this channel is now live in the house, even though the DCA is off.
Right.
And I'm like, but the DCA should have like it dictates if it's on or off, and so whatever. That's just the way. But if I turn this on and then turn it off again, it'll jump back.
Yeah.
Or if I went like this, same thing.
Yeah. So now that we're talking about that, how are you routing those different channels through this DCA?
Yeah. So it really is the just hitting that 3 button. So
selecting that channel and then hitting the DCA, or unselecting it. I could remove this one from the DCA, right?
Yep, 3. Exactly. Yeah, go ahead and try it. Like if you hit 3 really quick, you can see, boom, it's no longer flashing.
Oh, right.
Not assigned anymore. And if you're like, oh man, like which one is like vocal? Like what DCA is it again? Like if you look at what it's labeled, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner that it says DCA 3.
Yep.
Very small, but if you grab...
If I select it, you can't select it.
Right. Because it's not technically a channel.
Right.
And that's what I think a lot of people... And I didn't learn this until, I don't know, probably in the last 5 years, but it's like, what's the difference between a group and a DCA? And a group passes audio, a DCA doesn't. Like, and what I mean by pass, like it's able to process audio. So like I can't select a DCA. Like all a DCA is doing is like collectively moving these faders up and down.
Right.
We're saving fader life by not actually having it move it up and down. We just move one fader instead of a bunch. If I jump over to our mixes, I could come and I could select any of these. I could EQ the mix. I could compress the mix. I can process the mix. I can use inserts on it. I can't do any of that with the DCA because the DCA doesn't actually send audio through it. It's just collectively controlling channels of audio or whatever, or mixes or whatever you're using the DCA for.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know how it took me that long to learn that. And then also the difference between mixes and matrices. I didn't get that for a long time either. The hierarchy of a console of a channel sending to a mix then sends to a matrix. And so I can take my main left right, I can take these sub mixes and send them to a matrix. And that's actually what we're doing with Video World. Is because we want to match the level of our volume in worship. We're just taking the main left right and sending it to Video World.
Okay.
But then we only want to increase the volume of our speech because we are not going to put a handheld microphone up there and run it at the same volume as worship. That's not going to be a fun experience for anyone.
Yeah.
So we created a speech mix, and then we said, okay, let's select this, and we're going to send it just to Video World.
Okay.
So Video World is getting the main left right speech volume, but it's getting additional mix volume.
Okay.
So
that's controlled right there.
Correct.
Okay.
And
that's a gain.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And now that we gained up our mics, like that's probably been like peaking out this whole time.
Yeah.
That was because we had an old EQ on that was doing like a 20 dB reduction, which was not the way EQ is supposed to be used.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, I'm sure if we listen to this now, we'd be like, oh, that sounds better. Like, we probably shouldn't have been recording and then laughing at ourselves or laughing at myself. Of being like, oh, right. Yeah, I mean, I think things are pretty great. In terms of waves, we were using yeah, I don't want to reorient the camera live. It'll take me a minute. But we were using some multiband compressors on the PA.
Okay.
So like we were coming in here and we're using we have a waves card in the back of the console,
Okay.
and you access that through card slots. So physical card slot 1, we're using channel 13. This console can send out 16 channels of audio and return 16 channels of audio with one card.
Wow. Okay.
And so you can see if we go down to Video World, we're using slot 1 channels 15 and 16. If I look over here in Super Rack, you can see our input is 15 and 16.
Oh, I see it. Okay. Yep.
And then our output is 15 and 16. And then if I come back in, you can see input 15, input 16.
Okay.
So sending out of the console into Super Rack, and then out of Super Rack back into the console.
Okay.
Which, hey, it works. And yeah, this is where you can see that we're taking our speech mix and sending it to the Video World matrix.
Oh, speech. Yep.
Okay. And you can see, yeah, we have our blinking faders for delay and vocal verb because that's what Vox Effects is here for, which I cannot select. But if I were to just turn it on and we went back to the other page, we'd be like, oh yeah, not blinking anymore.
Right.
Cool. We talked about PvP and Spotify earlier coming in over the Dante network.
Yep.
So we can just jump in. We talked about, I think, 57 and 58 earlier for PvP.
Yeah.
And then Dante just comes, Spotify comes in right under that. And the super nice thing is, like, if you start playing audio and you click on the input, it shows you where you're getting audio from. So really in a pinch, if you're like, oh my gosh, I can see that you're up on stage tapping, you can just jump in here and be like, where's the tapping?
Yeah, that's cool.
In and grab it.
Yeah, it's nice.
I mean, yeah, that's the majority of it. We're going to do some specific videos. Like, I do not like how this console is laid out in terms of signal flow. Because if I were to bring it up on the computer, it's awesome. It looks like an old analog console. Like, you've got your gain, you've got your high pass filter, you've got your EQs, and you've got inserts in and out, like maybe an onboard compressor if you're like a big format console.
Yeah.
Here, it's terrible. You've got input gain, and I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. Input gain, high pass filter, EQ, Dynamics 1, Dynamics 2, insert, direct out, and you can change the insert and direct out spots. And then DCAs, and then mixes, and then mute. Like, it's all over the place. Like, it's not linear, horizontally, vertically, crisscross any which way.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm not going to teach using this screen very often. I'm going to come over to the QL editor, which I think I can actually just sync up really quick. But it looks like an analog console.
Yeah, it does.
Top to bottom. And it's like, yes, that's exactly what we want.
The iPad app looks very much like that.
Yeah. And it's like, this is perfect. This is the way every console should look in terms of a page.
Yes.
Because then you can understand, it does matter the order of things.
Yeah.
And it's good to understand that EQ comes before dynamics processors on this console, and that's not something you can configure. It's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
Versus if you're in Pro Tools or Ableton, sure, do whatever you want. Computer doesn't care.
Yep.
Let's see, what else would be good to talk about? User-defined keys for what we have set up right now. The top right is just if you want to go into low profile mode, like if it's really dark and all of a sudden you're
dim it. Yep.
lighting up the world. But then everything else is labeled. So talkback is ability to use SM58 to talk to the band on stage, which will come through the ambient channels on the live mix. And it is latched, so you have to disengage it manually versus push to talk.
Okay.
We've got this isn't a global tap. This is a local tap for the mono delay. And it's the only time-based thing that we're using, so that's fine. And then we record rehearsals and we record Sunday mornings, just to compare our mixes. Because we want to try and be as consistent as we can, but we're all different people. But we'll record a Wednesday rehearsal, upload it so that the band can listen to their performance, get them ready for Sunday.
Yep.
And we upload that to Google Drive and then all splice
and that's simple as record and then stop when we're done.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
And then does that get uploaded, or do we need to take the drive out and?
Yep. So we'll physically take the drive out, and I just plug it into the side of this USB keyboard here, which is really nice about the old keyboards. Like you have a new Bluetooth keyboard, you can't plug it in. And then I'll just bring it up really quick. It's on the Mac Mini, not on the Mac Pro, so you have to switch over the video input on the screen.
Right.
But then if you open Chrome, just board mixes right here is one of the tabs that's saved.
Yeah.
And you'll just click on it and you'll be like, what did I just record? I recorded a rehearsal. It's in the year 2022 and we're in March. And then we just follow the format of year, month, date, rehearsal.
Okay.
And then I'll go into Ableton, slice it up, upload it to Planning Center. And then when we get to the point of, if we have other people like, oh, I want to learn Ableton or Pro Tools or whatever, then that's something that they can take on and learn some audio normalization stuff, and it's great. We've got people showing up, so we're probably going to end the recording so that we can jump into making sure that they have a great experience. And the first thing we're going to do is set gains.
Sounds good.
We're just going to say, hey, can you jump on the mic and give us a good amount of volume? So,
Yep.
All right, on to the next thing.
Cool.